Hello everyone, welcome to an academy. Myself Deepak ME Structural Engineering AMI. So this is the second lesson in the factors affecting workability series. Alright, so today we are going to see how mixed proportions and the water cement ratio affects the workability of concrete. Alright, but before that, please subscribe to the YouTube channel of the Academy. Also, please you can follow us through the official app and the website of an academy. So let's start. Hello everyone, good to see you. Hope you're having a great day. So welcome back once again to the factors affecting workability of the concrete series. So in the last class we have seen, or the last lesson we have seen, how the cement content and the water content affects the workability of concrete. Alright, so there are a lot of other factors also that affects the workability of concrete. So today we are going to see two of the other factors that affects the workability of concrete. Alright, but before that, as usual, we have a small recap of the workability of concrete. Alright, so to understand what workability is, we must know what the definition are. Alright, so according to ASTM C12593, the workability is defined as the property determining the effort required to manipulate a freshly mixed quantity of concrete with minimum loss of homogeneity. All right. So this states that it's a property of it's a property of the fresh concrete which determines how easy or how difficult it is to manipulate a freshly mixed concrete, or the properties of fresh mixed concrete. All right, with the minimum loss of homogeneity. That means that with the minimum loss of mixed proportions. Alright, now another definition is that from ACI 116R90, it states that the property of freshly mixed concrete which determines the ease and homogeneity with which it can be mixed, placed, consolidated and finished. Alright, so this definition is more familiar to us because of the use ease and homogeneity here, right? So this also states that it is a property of freshly mixed concrete which determines how easily and how homogeneously it can be mixed, placed and consolidated and finished. Okay, all these words are connected to workability itself, even though it has individual terms, individual meanings. All these things are related to workability only. All right, even the term workability itself, it's a bit confusing sometimes. Okay, the properties like flowability, easiness, the properties like transportability, easiness in placing, all these things are connected to workability only, but even though if they have individual meanings. All right, so our IS 456 2000 in the page number 17 of it, it also states that, or it also says that concrete mix proportion should be chosen such that the concrete is of adequate workability for placing conditions of the concrete and can properly be compacted with means available. All right, so this sentence itself shows how significant the workability is for the freshly mixed concrete or the concrete in its plastic state. All right, so this it tells us that one has to choose the ingredients of the concrete and the mixed proportions of the concrete based upon the workability that it should be attained. All right, and also with the available means. Okay, with the methods that are available in the vicinity. All right, or with the methods that are viable to that situation. Okay, so those are some of the general properties or some of the general factors about workability. Now let's see what are the factors that affects the workability. So this question is a very important question. You can expect this question anywhere tossed to you, maybe in internal examination, maybe in your viva question, maybe in your interviews, maybe in your university examination. Please have a look this important question, that is water and cement content, mixed proportions and water cement ratio, shape, size, texture, grading of aggregate, admixtures and environmental conditions. All right, so we have seen the water and cement content, and today we are going to see the mixed proportions and water cement ratios effect on the workability of concrete. All right, so let's start. Okay, now we start with the mixed proportion itself. All right, so mixed proportions, what does that mean? So mixed proportions mean that the proportions in which the ingredients of the concrete are mixed. All right, maybe it's a design mix or maybe it's a nominal mix. Whatever it is, the mixed proportions is one of the most important aspect of a concrete mix, especially the concrete when it is in its passive state, or when it is in its plastic state. Okay, so here it deals with the aggregate cement ratio mix in the concrete mix. All right, that means what is the mixed proportion between the aggregate and cement? That's what the basic is all about. Okay, it's about the aggregate and cement bonding with the help of water as a base. All right, that is aggregates are bonded together by cement with the help of water as a base. Okay, now leaner the concrete, less quantity of paste available for the mix. Okay, that means when we make the concrete more leaner, that means when the cement content is less. Okay, that means here please understand the cement content plays a vital role in this mix proportion. All right, so I'll tell you how. So leaner the concrete, less the quantity of paste available in the mix. Okay, which means that if the cement content, okay, is less, that means the concrete is very lean, the quantity of paste available for the lubrication per unit surface area of aggregate will be very less. Okay, so hence it affects the mobility, and the mobility of the aggregates is too much restrained, which affects the workability of the concrete. Alright, that means the aggregates can't move easily, or it can't move that fluid movements that is required for a concrete in its plastic state. Alright, so it restricts that, and hence restricting the workability of the concrete. Alright, and also if more cement is used, the richer will be the concrete mix. That is the vice versa of it. If the more the cement is added to it, alright, the concrete will be more richer, the more space will be there for the aggregates to move around, and also more bonding capacity, and also extra paste will be there, which helps in the increasing the workability of concrete. Alright, so that's it. And also this mix proportion also plays a vital role in affecting the water cement ratio also. Okay, that is, the cement here also plays a vital role. That is, the water should be less and the cement paste should be more to have more paste. Alright, or at least that should be in a proportion that the workability should not exceed to extent of segregation. Alright, now as I said before, this has the influence of water cement ratio of the concrete mix also. And so repeating again, when the more cement is used in the mix becomes richer, the aggregate will have proper lubrications for mobility and the flowability of the aggregates. Okay, and also if low amount of cement is used, the vice versa happens. That means the mobility and the flowability of the concrete mix will be restrained, and hence affecting the workability of the concrete. Alright, now let's move on to the next point, that is the water cement ratio. This is something that you have always heard when you're doing a mix design, or something you have learned, or maybe you have heard multiple number of times in your engineering student life. Alright, maybe you are in a second year, maybe not in the first year, maybe in your second year, third year, final year, in your PG, wherever you go, this term is a must for you. Alright, if you are doing something in concrete. Okay, so let's see what it is. So perhaps, as I said before, this is one of the most influential factor of the workability of concrete. Alright, and also that's why water cement ratio play a vital role in the mix of the concrete, whether the mix may be in its nominal state or maybe the mix is a design mix. Alright, so both affects in a different manner. Okay, now let's see. So in the most of the construction site, the mixing of the concrete mix, that means pardon me, not the almost all, I mean more in the construction site, where in the domestic construction site especially, okay, not in a very high amount, and also in the small places where the concrete has to be filled, the mixing will be done almost manually. Alright, so high water cement ratio is used in the manual mixing of concrete. Alright, that means to make it more easier to work, high amount of water cement ratio is used for manual mixing. This is applicable for nominal mix, not for the design mix. Please note down. Okay, now first of all, look at this water cement ratio to get a good idea about it. Okay, that means water by cement ratio. So if the water cement ratio is more, that means water by cement, that means the water content is more. I mean, if the water cement ratio is higher, which means that the water content is more. Alright, if this lower, which means that the cement content is more. Alright, just look in the ratio proportion manner. Water by cement, if it's a big number, the numerator will be more, which means that the water will be more. If it's a small number, which means that the denominator is more, which means that the cement is more. Alright, if it's almost a balanced number coming, which means that both the numerator and denominator almost cancels out each other, but it never be one. Alright, in the case of a design, okay, it's very difficult to attain that. Alright, almost impossible to say. Now, so it's almost high water cement ratio of a manual mixing of concrete. Alright, so in the general design mix, low water cement ratio is used. Alright, that means for the design, I'll tell you why. For manual mixing, the water cement ratio will be like they use higher because the laborers are doing it, or maybe whoever in charge will add the water in accordance to his wish to attain the workability. Alright, and also adding the water to the concrete for attaining more workability should be the last step for attaining the workability. Okay, if all of the steps are failure, then only we must add the extra amount of water to it. Why? I'll tell you why. Because think like this: you are in charge of a site. You tell a person to mix up the concrete, and he doesn't have any technical knowledge. Okay, obviously, so he'll start mixing with the concrete, and to make the workability more and more, he'll add more and more water, and hence the workability is attained in according to his wish for the easiness of placing and compacting and all those stuff. But what will happen is that in the end, after the concrete is set, and even after concrete is hardened, we can see when the concrete is set, we can see the segregation or bleeding. Okay, that means the water content will be too much high. So we should be very careful about adding the extra water to the concrete. If it's done so, we must add the extra cement to make the water cement ratio in its balanced state. All right. So general range of water cement ratio will be 0.4 to 0.6, and the water cement ratio affects the workability of a concrete in a very high extent. All right. So if the water cement ratio is less than 0.4 or up to 0.4, that concrete is called as unworkable concrete. All right. So it is also known as the harsh concrete, which the concrete will be very difficult to work with. It will be very difficult to mix, compact, place, and all those stuffs. All right. If it's in between this range, that is 0.4 to 0.55, it is known as the medium workable concrete, which is a generally used concrete in almost all the domestic constructions. Okay. And also, if it's above 0.55, it is highly workable concrete. All right, that means concrete will be very much high, it has a very high flowability, and settling down will be very fast. Okay, so fast settling concrete, such type of concrete are byproducts of this highly workable concrete, but these are susceptible to segregation and bleeding if it's not used in a correct manner. All right, I've done a separate lesson for this topic. You can check in the fresh concrete lesson itself what are the type of the workability of the concrete. All right, I mean the fresh concrete course. All right, what are the types of workability of concrete, you can check out there. So that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Please comment your suggestions, please rate my presentation, please recommend and share the slides. And this is my profile to the Unacademy platform. Just copy in your browser, you can see all the works that were done based on the ingredients of the concrete and the fresh concrete and the ongoing series. I've explained all the lab experiments also over there. So thank you once again. I see you in the next lesson. Wish you a good day. Ciao.